from the mass message we all got this morning about what training is going to be about. So I'm excited though. This is about delivering policies. I know I come up here and I train a lot about closing, right? And I say, we want to close the application on moving forward. And that closing is important and it's exciting, but that's not actually the close. The real close happens when you deliver the policy. Right? Because we do the application process, we tell them this is just an application. We don't even know if they're going to get approved or not. So the close comes when we deliver the policy and the client gets excited about the coverage they have and they commit to it. Right? We want them to commit to paying every single month. Right? So let's go over delivering policies here. So when we sit down with a client, we always tell them there's 3 things that can happen. They can either get issued, the cost can go up or down, or they can get declined. So I'm going to cover the first one. So when we sit down with a client, of course, when we deliver a policy, we can call them. We can then set up a Zoom, or you can meet with them in person. So this is kind of my conversation when I talk to somebody, is I always start by saying, let's say, Sander, right? Sander, I have incredible news. Right? You want to sound excited, because if you're excited, that's contagious. The client will be excited. Right? Everyone loves good news. So I have incredible news. You actually got approved just like how we applied for. So you got approved for the full $500,000 of coverage, right, for $100 a month. Right? This is amazing. And then I'll recap the benefits. I know I always talk about the benefits when I close the client or doing the application, but the client doesn't remember the benefits. So you always want to recap this. This is really great because if they go and they talk to their brother who got a policy at the bank for half the cost, for a 10-year term, right? They might not know the details of that, but if you recap the benefits of that, even if that was a concern of theirs, they're not even going to express that with you because you've kind of overcome that objection already. So I'll recap the benefits. So Sander, it's a $500,000 level term for 35 years, meaning that cost is never going to increase on you, right? You've locked it in while you're the healthiest that you are right now and the youngest that you are right now. Also, it comes with a terminal illness rider, so you can take up to 70% of that benefit out to get treatment if you become terminally ill. You also qualify for the waiver of premium, which allows you to go ahead and use this premium if you get disabled, meaning that the company will go ahead, they'll pay for your policy for you for as long as you are disabled, which could be your whole life as well. Right? So this will make sure that the policy won't lapse on you. Also, you got coverage with the #1 rated life insurance company in the whole country. So one of the reasons why is because we pay death claims every 7 minutes of every day. Right? We also pay out 94% of the time within 14 days. Right? This is huge. And the last benefit is, of course, you have me. Right? So I'm going to be here representing you. So if you ever need to make any changes, an emergency happened, or if God forbid you pass away, I'm going to be the one that's going to be there to assist you and your family. So just reach out to me at my personal number. You won't have to call a 1-800 number. Now, I want to be very assumptive that they want to move forward. So what that means is you don't want to be like, so are you happy with what we just went over? If you are, please sign this. You want to be very assumptive that they're happy with what they got, because they should be. Right? You want to be very assumptive that you never, ever, ever want to expect them to get a better rating. Right? So let's say they get a standard rating, but they told you they run marathons every week, right? And you don't want to go, oh, Val, I thought you'd be a lot healthier than you actually are. Like, were you eating fast food before?
Oh my God.
Right? And I know this is almost like common sense, but sometimes it happens, especially if we're close to the person. You want to never expect a better rating. You always want to be happy with what they get. Because nowadays, people are taking mental health medications, have a long list of prescription drug history. So just the fact that they get an average rating is a good thing. Right? So you never even want to talk about the fact that they were able to get a discount. It's just you're happy with what you got, and then we want to move forward. So how I move forward from that and getting the DocuSign, that if we need a DocuSign, is I'll say, what's great, Chandel, is your deposit actually pays for this first month's premium. So you don't even have to worry about paying this month's premium. You don't actually start paying until next month. So you are completely covered starting from today. All right, now, if you guys know, if the client applies for $750,000. How much was the conditional coverage for? 500. So how much did they take the deposit for? 500,000. So then what do we need for the other 250? Yes. Okay. Yeah. An MRN. Yeah. So we need an MRN for that extra 250,000. So you want to get that from the client as well. So I'll go ahead and I'll tell the client, all right, all we need now to make sure that you are completely covered is you just need this quick DocuSign. I'll walk you through it, right? And you always want to walk the client through the DocuSign. If you don't DocuSign with the client there and you leave them to do it by themselves, they're probably never going to do it.
Right.
Right, and then this is a really good time for you to explain the increasing benefit rider. If you guys don't explain it on the first meeting with the client, this is usually when I explain it. I'll say, let's say, Chandel and Mike, another added benefit to the policy that I might have not mentioned the first time is something we have called the increasing benefit rider. Right, this will actually allow you to get double your coverage after 10 years. Right, so every single year your coverage can increase by 10%. Your premium will also increase by a little less than 10% as well. But this is really great to keep up with inflation. Because Chandel, can you agree with me? Sometimes 500,000 is not the same 20 years from now. Yeah. So this will make sure that it's still the same 500,000 for your family. That will go to become $1 million. And the amazing thing with this is you don't have to prove your insurability at all. So if you do get sick within this, you get terminally ill, Primerica will guarantee they're going to continue to keep adding that benefit for you, even if you can't get it anywhere else. Right? This is amazing because I actually had a client who started with us. She was actually somebody else's client with Primerica. And she had started off with $300,000 of coverage. The year 2 of having the policy, she got diagnosed with thyroid cancer. Right? But she had 3 young kids. So she actually needed more than $300,000 of coverage, but that was all she could afford at her budget at that time. So she ended up getting a raise over time, right? She could afford more, but she couldn't really do an increase manually. So Primerica actually, after 10 years, now she has $600,000 of coverage without having to prove any of her insurability at all. So she's a lot happier with that, right? So if this is a benefit that's for you, if you don't want it a year from now, just let me know. That's what I'm here for. We can remove it. It's very easy. But if you do want to keep it, you can keep it. All right, so I always want to touch on that because you don't want to get a call a year from now saying, Chandel, why did you told me it's going to be level. Why didn't it increase? Right? It's just an added benefit that we do have. And then if you are investment licensed, definitely open up an investment account for them on that second meeting if you haven't yet, because we buy term, we invest in difference. And if you're not licensed yet, you can bring your trainer to do that. Right now, next thing is if they get rated. So I remember when a client would get rated when I first got started, I get really nervous because I'd be like, oh no, the cost went up by 3 times. There's no way they're ever going to keep this. But I found out that when they get rated, that just means they're really high risk. Like, you're going to die anytime. So, they have even a higher need of coverage. So if you believe that, the client will believe that as well. Right? So this is kind of my conversation when somebody gets rated. I'll call up a client, and I'll say, hey, Sushil, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good. So I actually have some good news and bad news. Bad news is, unfortunately, we didn't qualify for what we applied for. But good news is we did get approved for coverage. Right? So you did actually get approved for the full $500,000 that we did apply for. But the premium is now about $250 a month. Right? I know that's a little bit above your budget, but they did find something in your prescription drug history. They don't tell me the details of it, and you don't have to tell me if you don't want to. But do you know what it might be that caused that to pop up?
What drugs I took?
Yes, illegal drugs were in your blood. Right, okay, it's fine.
What the cost would be?
No, never mind. Wrong person. So, Chandel, do you know what might have caused the premium to go up?
Yeah, I think I was prescribed a medication in the past.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's completely fine, but that's probably the reason why. So there are a few options we can go about this, Chandel. I'm just really happy you got approved because the alternative is that you would have gotten declined. And we want to make sure you have the coverage in place for your family, for your kids, of course. So these are the options. The first one is if you like the $500,000 of coverage. I know it's a little bit above your budget, but if we can move some things around to make sure you get that coverage, we can make sure you get issued for that. Or we can go ahead and make some changes. We can revisit your budget. We can go ahead and we can either reduce the coverage down, right? Or we can reduce the length of term down as well. So do you want to see what those numbers are going to look like?
Yeah, sure.
Perfect. So at this time, what I'll do is I'll just pull up the quotes and I'll see whatever fell within the budget. So let's say the original budget was $100 a month. I'll say, okay, Chandel, for the same $100 a month for your budget, we can actually do $250,000 of coverage. Do you feel like that's something that you can commit to?
Yeah, that's doable.
All right, perfect. So then we could reduce it down, sign the amendment on DocuSign. Everything is so easy now. It's all on DocuSign. You sign the amendment, walk the client through it, and then you tell them, all right, again, Chandel, I'm really happy you did get approved with us. You are covered from today on.
All right, thank you.
And then the last thing is the client might get declined. If the client does get declined, doesn't mean you have to lose them as a client, right? We can still help them because, again, we're in buy term and invested difference. So what I'll usually do for the client is I'll just take their entire budget and then we can start a pack for them instead, invest that money instead. I'll also tell them, depending on what it is that was in their coverage, that was in their medical records or their blood work, there might be a chance of reconsideration. So the client really appreciates it if you say you're gonna fight for them and you're gonna try really hard. So since we have access to like Juliet Hope, I always tell them, I have access to some of the top people in the underwriting department and also in Primerica as well. So I'm gonna try my best to see if we can get this reconsidered. But if there's a chance, this is the person that's gonna be able to help you. So at least now they know that you're adding some value there. You're at least trying for them and they'll become an investment client. And then this is the best time to get referrals. This is the best time to get referrals. So a lot of times when they're declined, now they see the value, right? Even if they didn't want any coverage. Let's say you had to pull an arm and a leg for them to even apply. Now suddenly they get declined and they're like, oh my God, I really wanted that coverage.
Yeah.
Although initially they didn't.
Yeah.
So this is the best time to get referrals, right? If you didn't sit down with their spouse, you can get their spouse, their kids, their parents, right? Their friends. This is the best time when they get declined. And then how to deliver the policy. So of course, we don't just get the DocuSign, we're like, cool, great, walk out of there. We want to be able to sign them up for the app. So what I send is usually I text them this link for them to be able to download the app, whether they have an iPhone or Android. I'll have them download it for me. So I'll say, hey, Mr. Client, can you do me a favor? Can you click on the link I just sent you, download the Primerica app. This allows you to have access to everything that you need. So you'll see your coverage amount, the IBR that I talked about. You'll see your coverage increase as well next year if you'd like it to. You'll also see your investment amount in there. And if you want to make any changes, I'll show them how to change their beneficiaries on there. I'll tell them how to change their banking information on there. And this is really important because sometimes the clients don't know how to change banking information. They change the banking information. They don't have your contact info. Their policy can lapse.
Yep.
So you want to make sure you walk your client through this. And then also if they have an investment account, I help them set up online access for the investment accounts as well. I also text them their account number too. And then I know this is silly, but you want to make sure your client has your contact information. Right? Sometimes clients, they don't save it. So I tell them, can you do me a favor? Can you just save my contact information? Because that's the benefit I provide here is you can go through me if you have any questions at all. I know that I help you sign up for the application, for the app. You can do everything on this app, but I'm here to assist you. So I know you have 3 kids, so it might be a little hard to do all of this, or you might not have time to do it. Just call me, right? Just text me if you need anything, and I'll do that for you. Right? I think we have really amazing products here, so we want to make sure our service matches up to those products as well. And then I'll leave behind some materials. Right? So I know a lot of times we don't meet with people in person, and brochures, even if somebody leaves brochures for me, my kids draw all over it, they'll probably spill milk over it a minute later. So I leave everything electronic. So the 2 things that I leave is I'll leave them an email with a bunch of material that I'll go over, and then I'll send them a text message as well. if I'm going out and I'm field training somebody, I always tell my trainee after I leave the appointment, hey, can you send them a text message 30 minutes from now, just thanking them for their time, thanking them for trusting you and helping you, right? Because that makes a huge difference. Sometimes clients get buyer's remorse, right? You just signed them up for something where they're now paying $200 a month, $500 a month, but they have nothing to really show for it. Like if you buy an iPhone, you have an iPhone, you can play around with it. Here, they don't really have anything physical, anything that they can hold. So what I like to leave is an email behind, so if they're like, oh, what did I just buy? What did I just do? Right? They can go through that email and be like, oh, this is what I have, right? And then you want your contact information to be there for the client, because if they don't have your contact information, which we see a lot when we like replace cash value policies, whole life policies, they don't even know who their agent is. They don't have their contact information. So you don't want to be that person. You don't want to be that agent. Because where do clients go if they have questions and concerns and they don't have your contact information?
Online.
Yeah, 1-800 online, right? And online there's a lot of, non-smart people online writing their opinions. There's a lot of cash value agents online they might read their opinions from. Or a 1-800 number. They don't want to be on wait for 30 minutes to an hour, because that's what we're here for. And that's what really sets us, separate from everyone else. So this is the text I sent. I'll read it for you guys. So if I'm the field trainer, I'll just say, hey Cecile, thank you for making the time to help out Chandel with her training and getting her name out there. We really appreciate your trust in us and look forward to helping you grow your wealth while making sure you and your family are protected 100% of the time. I like to add something personal to this as well. So I'll say like, your kid Val was so adorable, she was, or like I'll say something, that was something happened, or maybe we had a joke during our meeting, right, where I'm like, oh, thank you for giving me the recommendation for that coffee place. I'm gonna go check it out tomorrow, right? You want to make it personable, because I've had times where I'm referring clients to real estate agents, and if they're sending a message, I know when it's not, right? I know when it's like, they ChatGPT'd it and they send it over to the client, and the client is like not impressed whatsoever. But when the real estate agent is very personable and they're like, oh, they tell them about why they like me or how good of care they're gonna take of them, it makes a huge difference. And they usually prefer that real estate agent over the one that just sends them a message that's the same to everyone else. Yeah. And then this is the email I sent. I didn't do the exact email, I just wrote down the links that I sent, add on to it, and the brochures. So the few things that I'll add on to it is the benefits of Primerica coverage. If you guys don't know what this is, just go to POL, type in benefits of Primerica coverage, and then the brochure will pop up. I add on the ICA guide if they're an investment client with us. I put in the 17-minute video, and I'll tell them this is the recap of the meeting we had. I'll also add on the Personal Finance Club article about why to buy term and invest a difference instead of getting whole life. I also add on why IULs are a scam. These two things I feel are really beneficial to add on to them, because now if they sit down with a cash value agent, you're not really gonna hear them call you and be like, oh, I found something incredible, because you can always say, hey Rod, can you open up that email I sent to you after our meeting? Can you just read that article with me? And then if they read it, they'll be like, oh, okay, I remember now what we talked about. I add on also the Get to Know Primerica brochure. This is amazing. This will really give them confidence that they are represented by the best of the best company. And then I'll add on the How Money Works and How Money Works for Kids. This is just fun. I just tell them this is a great read. You can read this with your kids. And it has some really great financial education guides. So that's pretty much it for delivering a policy. Do you guys have any questions? Well, we're good to go. All right, thank you guys.